guys, it's April with Cricut-Crafting. I'm going to do a tutorial video today on the side step card and the stair step card. Some people are getting two of them confused, and hopefully I'm not confused. If I am, somebody please correct me. But it was to my knowledge that this base here is an actual side step card, not a stair step. And I went ahead and set this up just for time purposes so the video didn't take a really long time. But you guys can follow along. I'm going to tell you exactly what I did. The first thing that I did is I inserted a shape and I selected a square. I changed it to white so it's easier to see for you guys. Then you're going to position that square at 1 and 1 and change the size. You'll have to unlock it to 6 inches wide by 9 inches high. This is going to create a 4.5 by 6 inch card. It is a tent folded card where it opens, the front opens towards the top upwards. This piece here being the bottom edge of the card when it's folded. The first thing you want to do after you have your square in there, you have it sized and positioned at 1, 1 so that it's easy to figure out your measurements. That is very important. Insert a score line and rotate it 90 degrees. I'm going to detach mine here just so that it's easier for me to show you guys where everything is at. Let me arrange that and move it to the back so you can see everything. And that first score line, you insert it, rotate it to 90 degrees here, put it at position 1 and 5.5 and make it 3 inches in width. And it should pop into this position here. Don't attach it yet. Well, you can if you're afraid that you might accidentally move it. You can go ahead and attach it, but before you do that, duplicate it. And you'll need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So you'll need 6 in all, so duplicate it 5 times. Then if you want to lock that in place, go ahead. The next one you're going to move, it's also 3 inches, and you're going to move it to the 4 position on X and the 2.75 position on Y. This is going to be a mountain fold. This one here will also be a mountain fold. I forgot to tell you that. This one here is a mountain fold. The next one you're going to position at the 4 position and 4.75. That one is going to be a valley fold. This is going to create that back panel for you to put in your embellishments. Your tallest and your largest ones are going to go to the back. You can flip this for it to be on this side. Just make sure that the smaller square is down here in the front, because this is the front of the card here. And again, you want to position that at the 4 and the 4.75. All of these are going to be at the 4 position on X, but the position that they go into is going to be a little bit different. That one should be at 6. I don't know how that got changed. There we go. The third one is a mountain, and it goes at the 6th position. And I know that it's actually the 5, but we've got this inch up here that we're not using just so we can maneuver around the card. So if you're doing this on a scoreboard, you'll need to allow for that, changing and deducting an inch off of all of these measurements, positions, not the measurements themselves, but the positions. The next is going to be another valley fold, and it is going to be positioned at the 7.5 mark. And the last one is a mountain fold positioned at the 8.75 mark. Once you have those all in position, you'll want to select them all and attach. You don't want to select your letters, but just your card and your score lines and attach. That way all of those are attached and they won't move on you. Next, you'll want to, let me see if I can just attach mine without getting that last line, just so I'll be on the same page as you guys. Let me move that to the back and see. It's so touchy now since from Design Space 2 to 3. It may or may not let me without getting, I'm going to get those letters. I know I am. Yeah. Just attach everything. Then you're going to insert another score line. This one is going to need to be 6 inches in height. You're not going to rotate it, but just make it 6 inches long. And then you're going to position it at the 4 mark. Mine's gotten off again. So that you have that at the 4 position. That's going to come up to this score line and up to these score lines. So it's going to position at 2.75, at 4 and 2.75, and it's going to extend all the way down to the bottom score line. Once you have all of that in place, you'll want to attach that as well. You can change that before you come over here or after. It doesn't really matter. But yours will be looking, oh, I got the wrong one. So I guess it does matter now on the thing. I apologize. Forgive my boo-boo there, misstep. Before you attach that, you'll want to come over here and select it. Yours will be looking like a score line like this right now. And just change it to a cut. That's all you need to do there is change it to a cut line. I don't think it allows you, even though that color box popped up, to change it. Would be nice if they would let us have a color choice for mountain and valley folds and cut lines, but I don't see it coming yet. So right now we just have to mark them with our letters so that when we reopen the file, we'll know how that card is folded. Now you can come in here and you can add some shapes and panels and your embellishments for this L. What I would do is just kind of eyeball that and get it where you had a little edge all the way around. And then I would insert another shape, another square, and then I would bring it just slightly past. I'm looking at the score line right here. I know you guys may not be able to see that, but I can see my score line. I'm just going to stretch that to just past, not much, just a little bit past, to give it that about the same effect as the rest of my border. And then you can just slice those, and you can get rid of all of that. And then you'll have this panel. And if it doesn't look like it's fitting right, like this one right here, you can go in and slice another little section right there from it. You don't want to get it too deep. Let's see if I can select them both and slice. And then you have a panel that you can put here on the front. It will be different on the back because this area is more narrow than this piece back here, I believe. So you'll want to cut separate panels. If you want panels for these, just remember this is going to be to the front. Because this is a mountain fold, this first section is going to be hidden. So you would need a panel here in this small section right here. And then this section here. These two will be facing the back of the card, so you wouldn't need them there. But that's just a way to put in panels if you want to do decorative panels on there, or if you want to have writing, that would be the time to add that and attach it. Then you can go in and insert your images. Let's see. Design Space is being a little slow on me. I actually think it's my internet. I don't believe it's Design Space. We're going to insert just any image, and then I picked up that V. Then just position it how you want it, and if you want other flowers to go back here, again, this is going to be your biggest, heaviest panel to anchor it to the back. That's where your larger images are going to go, and then your smaller ones to the front. And you'll just glue those to these valley fold panels that face the back of the card. And that's all there is to that sidestep card. I suggest saving it. I'm going to get rid of these because I don't need them and I don't really want to bog down my design space. When I reopen this card with all of that text, let me make sure I have everything attached. And I got myself a letter in there, but that's okay. I'm going to get rid of all of that, and then we're going to show you how to do the stair step card. I don't really even need to save this, but make sure you save yours as a base, and then when you open it back up, do a save as and create your card. That way you always have a clean working base and you don't lose that. Then we're going to go to a new project. I'm just going to replace mine. I don't need to save it. Now this one, just bear with me because it's been a while since I created this base, and my measurements may be off just a tiny bit, but I'm going to tell you exactly what they're supposed to be. I have my notes in front of me. First thing we want to do, this one is called a Stair. If I could type. This is a stair step card. So that's the one that we're working on here, which is different from the side step that we just finished. You're going to insert a shape and insert a square. Now this is a square card. The way I worked it out on my board, that's just the way it worked out, as a 6x6. I know that we cannot cut past 11.5 inches. So after we get our scores and everything in, you can come back and you can change this and downsize it to where that it will fit that 1/2 inch. But for now we're going to make that, I did it backwards, 12 inches wide and 6 inches high. And this is going to be your card base. You're just going to, I'm changing this to white so you guys can see it. You're going to insert a score line. It needs to be 6 inches in height. You need to select it, select the card, align, center. Then I am going to position the card at 1 and at 1 so that I can check and make sure that that score line did indeed go to the center. I've been burned by it so many times that I always have to check it. Attach it, and then I'm just going to hide that because I don't need it again for now. And I'm going to get rid of this so that we don't bog anything down and I don't attach anything we don't need. Next, you're going to insert another shape because that's going to be the backing that you glue this piece to get that effect, the colors to show through on your steps. Insert a square. And this one needs to be 5 3/4 in height. Let's unlock that. So that's 5.75. And it needs to be 11.75 wide on that insert. I'm going to also change that to white just because it makes it easier to see. The next thing you're going to do is move that into position 1, 1. Insert a score line, and that score line needs to be 5.75. Did it insert? There we go. And I'm going to change that to 5.75. We're going to select them both. And I want to align that to the top. And I am going to move it into the position of 1 and 4.375 or 4 3/8. I have a second score line there. Let me undo that because it moved the whole card and I just want to move the score line. So put that back in position 1, 1. I'm going to move that and align it back to the top And then I'm going to move just the score line to 1, and I've got it in the wrong one. 1 and 4.375. Let me click it. Now that is actually in the wrong place because it needs to be at the 5.3 because I didn't allow for this inch. So make sure that you position yours at 5.375. You would deduct that inch if you're doing this on a scoreboard. I'm getting my measurements mixed up because I can't see them. I have so many notes jotted down here. I'm going to attach that just so it doesn't move. Next, I am going to insert a square because this is the easiest way I know to do this, guys. I've tried everything and creating it in Design Space. It's just a whole lot easier to do it like I'm about to show you than it is to deal with all those individual score lines in creating this. I'm going to make this block 1.5 inches, inch and a half. And I am going to duplicate it 4 times, or 3 times, so I want 4 in all. Then I am going to actually duplicate one of those, again, any one of them, it doesn't matter, and resize that to 1.25. It's going to be just a little bit smaller. And you're going to bring that up to the 5.375 position and the 1 position. That's going to align it to the top and to that score line. Because this first step is going to be right there, 1 1/4 inches in from the score line. I am going to go over here and I'm going to select that one and I'm going to change it to a score. I've got the wrong box. There we go. Change it to a score. Now that's going to score there. We'll worry about our cut lines in just a moment. That is where this one needs to be, but it needs to be, I apologize, I made the wrong size. Let's back up for just a moment. You've got your 1 1/4 square can stay, and your 1 1/2 can stay. We're going to unlock it, and it's going to be on this side 1.4375, 1 7/16. We don't want it to be 1 1/2 deep. So let me 1.4375 by 1 1/2. There we go. So it's 1 1/2 across, or your width, and your height is 1.4375 or 1 7/16. This one is still 1 1/4. Duplicate this one 4 times because you're going to need 4 of those the same size because they're going to stair step together. Bring this one in. We're going to align it to that one, to the base at the top, and you're just going to want to make sure that it's butted up against that one. So, and you can, I like to use the positions, it's just easier for me. That should be right, 5.375, and that looks good. So now this square, which we were using for measurement only, we're going to change to 1.75. And we're going to line it up on the 5.375 mark, just so it's right there at that score line. And then we're going to fit this next one right up in there. And this is going to help with your fold and your cut and everything as well. Then we're going to change the size of our measurement to 2.25 inches, 2 1/4, and we're going to put it at the 5.375 position. So it's up against that score line as well. And then you're just going to bring the next square up in line. Then we're going to change it to 2.75. And to me, this is just so much easier than adding all of these and making sure they're in the right place. It's just to use the position tool that they've given us. And you can see that mine is coming down just a little bit more than what my base is. So I'm going to unlock it, and we're going to stretch it just a tiny bit. So I've changed this actually to 11.75 wide is what it should be. And I'm going to say 0.85. That looks like it's going to line up perfectly. While you have these here, go ahead and select them and change them to scores. You're just going to double click it and change it from the cut to the score on each one of these. Neat little easy trick without having to deal with all of those little bitty lines. Wrong square. Let's change that to score. I can get rid of that. Then I am going to select all of this and I'm going to attach it. This is going to be cardstock, so where it repeats the score is not really going to hurt anything because we're going to cut those as well. So now you're going to insert a shape, get you a score line, rotate it 90 degrees, and change it to 1.5. You just want a 1.5 inch line. Once you have that, double click so you don't get it confused with the others and change that one to cut. So we've just made it opposite of what we did the others. You want to line this one up. We may have to make that a little bit bigger. And you want it to extend from the corner of the first box to the corner of the second box. So it's actually looks like 2 inches is what it should be. Let me adjust that. That's right, 2 inches. So make it 2 inches instead of 1.5 inches. And then you're going to duplicate it for the other 2. So you're going to need 3 of them in all. And just line those up. Select and attach. So now your cut lines are there. The score line is not going to hurt it. Mine's not lined up perfectly there, but just for time's sake, get yours lined up just a little bit more to where it's in line with those score lines. But it's going to go in the same position, like I said, from one to the other. And that is all there is to creating the stair step. Folding. This, I'm going to insert a V just so you guys can have this, and let me insert another one and do an M. Okay, this line is a valley fold. It's going to fold into the inside of the card there. Then all of the, let me duplicate that. All of the lines here on this inside are valleys. You can duplicate and put as many letters in there as you need because we can't change the color of our score lines. All of these will be valleys and all of these will be mountains. And that's going to create your steps on the inside of that card. So when you fold it, you're going to go valley, mountain, 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 valley, 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 valley. And then when you push that card out, it will create those steps where you can put letters on either side of the steps here, or like love. Some people want to put love here. This is where that would go. And then you also have that face where you can put for other letters or any panels or anything that you might want there. Just create your panels by slicing the squares. You can do one big square here and then slice out by using 1.5 inches. You can slice out these as well. If you have any questions, guys, please feel free to message me, email me. I'm not always available 24/7. That's impossible for one person to do, but I am will get to you just as soon as I possibly can if you have questions. Make sure you save your project, save it as a base so that you have a working base all the time. Once you get all your panels and everything laid out, then you can create birthday, Mother's Day. You'll have that base and you can just work off of that. And I appreciate you guys watching. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And make sure you join the Facebook group if you haven't joined it already, Cricut-Crafting with April. And you guys have a wonderful crafting day. Thanks for joining me on this rainy day.